Good morning, everybody. I don't normally dress like this. I'm not going to play snooker after this. I've got to go. I've got to work for the Leeds Rhinos today. We've got our first game of the year. It's a big day for the club, and it's a big day for the game of rugby league. This game against Warrington today is going to be broadcast live on Channel 4. It's the first time Super League has been broadcast live on terrestrial TV. So big day. Looking forward to it. If you sat there thinking, do you know what, I don't know anything about rugby league, I don't really particularly care about sport neither, don't worry, the four things I'm going to talk about to do with leadership in challenging times, you don't need to know anything about rugby league or anything about sport. It's about making basic good decisions as a leader. I'm going to use like 4 areas, I think, that allowed me to lead Great Britain during challenging times. So what I'm going to talk about today are walking the walk, what's next, commit to the plan, and hard truths. I'm going to tell a little story behind these 4 areas for me. So the first area, I think, in leading in challenging times is walking the walk. You know, I firmly believe you have to lead by example. As a leader, you have to go there first in challenging times, and it's your behaviours that set the standard. And I think, as a leader, you have to set tasks out that are going to be difficult for you to do, that are going to be beneficial for the team, because then when you ask your team for buy-in to get them to do things they don't want to particularly do, are going to be difficult to do, they'll do it because they realise you'll walk the walk, you'll lead by example. The best way I can tell this is by playing against the man on your screen, Petrol Sivnasiva. The most challenging thing you will do in rugby league is to play against the best team in the world, Australia, in Sydney, in their backyard. And in 2006, I got named captain of Great Britain to Tour Down Under. Twice we're going to play Australia, twice we're going to play New Zealand. So I thought to myself, what's going to be the best way to lead this group? Really challenging times, difficult opposition, best team in the world. I'm going to walk the walk, I'm going to lead by example. So I'm going to set something out, it's going to be difficult for me to do, benefit for the team, I'm going to commit to it and follow it through. So we are about to go play the Australians, 40,000 people at Sydney Football Stadium. 5 minutes before we go out to play the Australians, I pull the team in. I say, look, the way we win today, the way we beat the best team in the world is individually, we've got to beat our opposite numbers. If individually we win these battles, collectively, we beat Australia. Now, my opposite number was the guy on the screen, Petrol Sivnasiva. He had been voted the hardest tackling player in Australia in 2004, 2005, and 2006. But I said to the team, right, every time I get the ball, I'm going to run at this guy. I'm going to beat my opposite number. Follow my lead, we'll beat the Australians. So we go out, sing the national anthem, ball gets kicked off to me. I run at Petrol Sivnasiva as hard as I can, and he absolutely buckles me, right? I go down, and as I get up, I'm seeing 3 of them, right? And as I'm getting up and seeing 3 of them, and as I get up to play the ball, that's how you start the game again in rugby league. I've got 2 voices. I've got one voice going, well, that effing hurt, and I'm thinking to myself, right, I've got to run at him 20 times. So instead of running at him 20 times, I'm going to run at him 10 times. And 10 other times, I'm going to find someone a little bit smaller. I'm going to look after myself, all right? But then I've got the leadership voice going, whoa. You just said to the group in there, you're going to run at him every single time you get the ball. And you know it's going to be difficult. And the moment something gets difficult, you're going to look after yourself, or you're going to do the right thing by the team. You're going to run at him every single time you get the ball. So I steel myself, right, I run at Petrol another 10 times in the first half. I win some, he wins some. Half time, we come in and we're winning 12 points to 6. 5 minutes into the second half, I get the ball again. Petrol's in front of me. I think, right, come on then, here we go, like teeth checking time again. This time though, I run at him and I punch through his tackle, score a try, put us out in front. We're beating the Australians 18 points to 6. At the end of the 80 minutes, we beat Australia 23 points to 12. We beat the best team in the world at their home ground. That is, how long ago was that? 16 years ago now. That is the last time Great Britain or England has beaten Australia, okay? So at the end of the 80 minutes, you know what, I'm really delighted, beat the best team in the world. But I'm more delighted with having the courage, right, to walk the walk when things got difficult. Because for the rest of the tour, no matter how challenging the times were, when I asked people to do something, they go straight away, yes, Skip, I've got you, no matter how difficult it was, because I realised I was prepared to pay the price, I was prepared to walk the walk. I think this summarises it best. When you do, you can then ask others to. That's the first point, I think, in leading in challenging times. The next one for me is, that one as well, sorry, I'll go there first. All right, I mentioned that earlier. So the next one for me is what's next. In rugby league, every single game you play, things go wrong every single time. And I think as a leader in challenging times, it's about providing a direction for people and some optimism. So I'll put this little saying up for this. So leaders in sport, you don't dwell on setbacks and missed opportunities. You learn, move on, keep self-belief, and continue to look forward and ensure the team does the same. You think about a game of rugby league, right? Things go wrong all the time. There will never, ever be the perfect game of rugby league played. Now, as a leader, if you dwell on everything that goes wrong all the time, your team's confidence will just ebb away and you'll never be able to win. A leader's job, I think, is to provide and show what's next. So when we're stood behind the post, when we've conceded a try, you've got to recognise what's gone wrong, make sure the person understands how they've got to fix it, but then you've got to provide the direction so that the team can move on, be optimistic and give yourselves every best chance of winning. Now, lots of times at the Leeds Rhinos, in the time I was there and the other leaders were there, we were able to come from behind and win games. And that principle is why, because we were able to provide the team with what's next, be able to provide them with a direction. Third thing about leading in challenging times is committing to a plan. So I learned this, right, how important this is through failure. Through failing 3 times in a row at Wembley. 3 years in a row, we went down to Wembley. 3 years in a row, we lost down there. Now, at the end of the 2012 season at the Rhinos, we had a roots and branches review. You know, why are we going down to Challenge Cup final? Why are we losing these games? Now, the reasons why we were losing these games was we did not have enough players commit to the game plan. We have a game plan in rugby league for every game we play in, and I think those 3 games, we had a maximum maybe 10 or 11 players commit to that game plan. Now, the reason was twofold. Firstly, the game plan was too complicated. The game plan was too complicated when you're playing at the National Stadium in front of 70,000 people. In a week-to-week round of Super League, we'd have like 5 things in attack, 5 things in defence, 5 things for the kicking game we need to look after. That was too many, right, for people playing at National Stadium and all those distractions. The second thing was, some rugby league fans will know this in here, but the Lance Todd Trophy is a really prestigious award for winning the man of the match at Wembley, and I think probably 4 or 5 players in each of those games were thinking more about winning the man of the match than what was the right thing to do by the team. So after this discovery, you know, through challenging times, through losing at Wembley 3 times, 2013, we do not get back to Wembley, right? We're not lucky enough to do it, not good enough to do it. But in 2014, we get back to play at Wembley. And the focus all week as a group, right, was commit to the plan. We came up with a simplified game plan, 2 things in attack, 2 things in defence, 2 things around the kicking game. Is everybody going to be able to remember that? Despite the distractions, everybody said, yeah, we've got this. We drilled it in all week. We got back to Wembley, and as you know, we won. We beat Castleford Tigers 23-10, and I actually took my first ever selfie 8 years ago there with Kevin Sinfield, right? So that's the third thing, all right, leading in challenging times. I'll finish with the 4th one, holding people accountable. I think you've still got to hold people accountable in challenging times. I'm going to tell you a story about this. From the Leeds Rhinos. So I think leadership, you have to have courage. You have to have courage to set the standards and to hold people accountable to them. I'll put 2 sayings up. So the culture and strength of a team is only as strong as the weakest behaviour a leader is willing to tolerate. And the standard that you walk past is the standard that you accept. October 2007, we win the grand final at the Leeds Rhinos. January 2008, we set our goals for 2008 to go back-to-back title winners. Never been done before in the history of the club. Now, 6 months into trying to defend our title, June 2008, we are way off getting back to Old Trafford to win it. Now, the reason why we are losing games is back-chatting to the referee. Now, those rugby league fans are out there, but those who don't know, in rugby league, if you back-chat to the referee, it normally kills you. You know, you give away a penalty, concede a try, lose games, okay? Now, the reason why we were back-chatting to referees was, in training, we would simulate a game against each other, and we'd have a coach in the middle refereeing. And any time he made a bad decision, we were all giving him some stick and some verbal. But without knowing, we created a bad habit, which we'd taken in the game, and we were losing games. So we lose another game Friday night at Headingley. 20,000 people there. We concede 2 tries to people back-chatting to the referee. Now, Monday morning, we go to Kirkstall. We have our video review. There's about 40 people in this video review. And the head coach highlights the behaviour of somebody back-chatting, okay? Somebody back-chatting to the referee. And he says, you know what? This has absolutely got to stop. It's stopping us getting back to winning at Old Trafford. Now, it has absolutely got to stop in training. From here on in training, nobody, and I mean nobody, is to back-chat to the coach who's refereeing. Does everybody agree with this? Loads of nodding heads, great contact. Does anybody disagree? Room falls silent. So we go downstairs, put our boots on, start training. Now, we train for about 90 minutes. Then we train for the last 30 minutes, okay? And in that last 30 minutes, we simulate a game, play against each other, have a coach in the middle refereeing. 10 minutes into this game, one of our best players back chats to the referee who's coaching in the middle. So I wait about 5 seconds thinking the coach is going to say something. Wait about 10 seconds thinking he's going to say something. Nothing gets said. So I stop the game. I've had enough of it. I stop the game. I said to the player, I said, what do you think you're doing? I said, we spoke at length up there, right? What our standards are going forward. First training session, you broke it. I said, it's unacceptable for you, you know, but it's also unacceptable for the group as well. We're not going to accept it. So the player took it on board. He was good with it. He said, you know what? I get it. Old habits die hard. Apologised to the team. Said, I won't do it anymore. Won't do it. Promise I won't do it. So we resumed our game, right? We resumed our game, and for the rest of that game, nobody back-chatted to the coach or refereeing. In fact, for the rest of the season, nobody did. We stopped that behaviour dead. October 2008, we go back to Old Trafford, we become champions. Now, at the end of that, when we became champions, in my off-season, I thought a lot about this incident, what had happened, and I thought, you know what? The easiest thing for me to have done that day would have been to say nothing, wouldn't it? You know, 10 seconds go past, just let it go. But let's say I didn't have the courage to do the right thing, to deliver the hard truth, have the honest conversation. We could put with that bad behaviour. We don't make it to the grand final. At the end of the year, I would have had no right to blame that player, because by saying nothing to him, right, I'm saying, do you know what, that standard's acceptable. So for me, in challenging times, you still need to hold people accountable to the standards that you expect. So they are, I think, the 4 things that can allow you to lead during challenging times. Make sure you set the tone, you walk the walk, you lead by example. Provide a clear direction where people are going. You need some optimism in there. Deliver hard truths along the way, and make sure you commit to a plan and everybody's on board with that plan. Now, the final thing I'll finish with is I think you need a bit of grit and resolve along the way. Now, I had a poem on the inside of my locker door, and I'm going to finish with this poem, because this poem is called Don't Quit. And I used to read it a lot as a leader during difficult times, and I'm going to finish with this one now. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure turn about when they might have won had they stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow, you might succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler had given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learnt too late when the night slipped down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. You can never tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. So, they've been the 4 areas, right? I think you can be your best as a leader in challenging times. That's a poem about never ever quitting when it gets difficult. That's what leaders do. They have that grit and resolve. Really thank you for listening this morning. I hope you have a really, really great day today. I'm really, really enjoying it, and thank you for listening, and thanks for your time.